Good evening, everybody, or good morning, good night, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to the Wednesday night Q&A. If you haven't been here before, then Wednesday night is basically all about questions and answers. So you have questions about things that I've talked about on videos past, or if you have questions about what kind of camera you want or need for your uses, or obviously I do a lot of stuff with drones, of course too, then ask in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them as we go along. But to start off with, I want to say hi to people. And just before that, tonight is all about the DJI Mavic Mini no, not Mavic Mini, Mini 2. DJI keeps changing their naming schemes and it's driving me crazy. The Mini 2, not the Mavic Mini 2, just the Mini 2. So if you have questions about that, I'll be happy to answer them. But if you have questions about the A7S III or FPV, we'll talk a little bit about FPV drones too. Anything like that, ask in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. Good to be here. Good to have you all here too. It's nice to not necessarily see all your shining faces, but see all your shining chats. So, and I'll just say it off the bat, like super chats are not necessary. They are appreciated. They help me get where I'm going to film these videos and buy coffee and stuff like that. So if you feel like you want to give a super chat or a super sticker or something like that, I thank you very much. And I'll definitely call you out for that. Also, I am going to be running a giveaway. LoomCube partnered with me to do a $100 gift card giveaway, and I haven't decided how I'm going to run it yet, but I may run that on my Instagram. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, you should run over and follow me on Instagram. There's links in the description of this video. So, say hello to people in the chat. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC, good to see you. Hopefully you're doing warm and well. Brad Alston, good to see you. Eddie Nunez, welcome. Sunrise Water Media, Bud Bieber, good to have you. Mark H, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Ken Hofbauer? Hofbauer? I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher people's names. I should just do one name only and leave it at that. So, Ken, good to have you here, though. Thanks. And for those of you joining from the Ken Heron show that I got to co-host last week, thank you. It was a lot of fun co-hosting with Ken. It was also a little bit nerve-wracking. Ridge Atkins, you're here. Nice to see you. Stingray Aerial Solutions, welcome. Nicholas, good to see you. Good night. Good evening. Peter McLennan, good to see you. Mavic Mini 2, a DJI Mini 2, awesome. Matt Merces, good to have you. Good to see you here. Madame Kalat, nice to see you. Good to have you here. All right. It's good to have you all here. And Mark H, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I appreciate that, man, a lot. And happy Thanksgiving to all of you, my fellow Americans here. And even if you're not in America, find something to be thankful for. In the middle of all the insanity that's going on this year, keep focused on things that you can be thankful for because it does make a big difference. Let's see. All right, I know we've had some questions already. How much does the Mini 2 weigh? It says it right on the side. It's one of the sides. It says it right on one of the sides. It's 249 grams. Where does it say it? It says it somewhere. There it is, right there. Ultralight. Focus. 249 grams. But coincidentally, if you put an ND filter on there, I got to get an ND filter, because then it may push it over. Freewell sent me some ND filters, which are fantastic. But if you have ND filters like from the original Mini, they'll work with the Mini 2 and stuff. But anyway, so yeah. Let's see. McLennan, you just ordered your first drone, a Mini 2. Fantastic choice. Great. This, I think, is probably one of the best first drones people could get. One, it's not so expensive that you're going to really cry a river if you break it, crash it. And it's so lightweight, even if it crashes, I feel like most of it will survive pretty well. Yeah, so, yeah. Ridge Atkins, you ask, is the A7 III a good buy with the A7S III being out? Your daily is still a 77D. Yes, it is, especially if you do video and photo work. The A7 III is still one of the best hybrid video and photo cameras out there. The A7S III is a great video camera. It takes beautiful photos. They're just not huge, so it's a little bit harder to do some crop in and stuff like that in post. But the A7 III actually is a fantastic deal right now because it's like $1,600 or $1,700 US. They knocked a few like $300 off right now, which is a great deal because it's cheaper than the A7C. And frankly, I think it's better than the A7C because you have front dial, rear dial, exposure compensation dial, and then a whole bunch of custom buttons, which is really fantastic. And if you get your A7 III, you want to see how I've set mine up and walk through the menu system, I've got a video out there about that. Yeah, so... Let's see, Matt Merces, man, I'm so sorry, I butcher people's names. Have I used the DJI simulator software and not? And if so, thoughts on it? I have not used it, Matt, so I'm not going to be a lot of help there for you. I've heard it's good, but I haven't used it. Madame Kalat asks, what's the best drone for beginners? I really think the Mini or the Mini 2. The Mini is on sale right now, massively on sale. So if you want to just get a really cheap drone and learn to fly it and capture video and photos with it, then get the Mini, the original Mini. The Mini 2 is great, but it's a little more expensive. So, but yeah, DJI is having a sale on the Mini 1 right now. I think it's like $350. A great deal. Brad Alston, Lume Cube, yes. All right, Brad. Stay tuned to my Instagram because I'll be putting that up there real soon. Bud Beaver says the Air 2. Well, yeah, so Bud, I kind of agree with you and I kind of don't. Like, if people have the budget, the Air 2 is a fantastic starter drone because it has obstacle avoidance and a lot of intelligent features, which is great. But yeah, so. Thanks, Brad. I'll do it anytime Ken wants to have me back, but it was a lot of fun. And by the way, I'm going to show some video here from the Mini 2 in extremely low light in a moment, so stay tuned for that. Hey Cam, welcome to the show. Stingray. Nice. Mike Matthews, good to see you. Sonic Neutronic, evening. Good to have you here. Nicholas, that means you can be drone without a driver's license? Yes, Nicholas, it does. In most countries, you can fly this without having to get any sort of license. But the caveat of that is, if you want to fly it commercially, if you want to use it commercially, you are probably still going to need some sort of license. Depends on where you are. But in the US, you would have to register this as a commercial aircraft and have a Part 107 license if you're going to use it commercially. So, if that makes sense. The audio is out of sync? That's interesting. No idea why that might be. Sorry. Yeah, it's not out of sync on my other device here. Anyway. Turkey Day, great words. Let's see, how far can the Mini travel in the UK? The Mini 2 can go a long way because it has an OcuSync 2.0. Hey Louie, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, 10 kilometers. That's right, Ken. Which picture profile of choice to film with the A7 III? You haven't filmed a lot of video on it. Honestly, I like filming just the no picture profile. I do standard movie, man, I can't remember now, but and I just tweaked it a little bit with the contrast and the saturation, and I was pretty happy with what I got. Okay, man, I'm trying to see if I can get caught up. You guys are chatting up a storm. It's awesome. Rabs, yes, so most governing bodies have a rule that under 250 grams or up to 250 grams, you don't need a license because of the weight and size. It's so small. That doesn't mean you can fly it regardless of the rules. Like, you can break the rules, you could still need to follow the rules, and then if you're going to do commercial work with it, that's when you need to get a license regardless of size and weight. Hey James, audio is in sync here. Okay, thanks Mark. Let's see, Jared Farmer says, I know there is no perfect answer, but which picture profile do you think is the most versatile for the run and gun Sony Alpha cameras on the A7 III? So Jared, I really like the I like the standards. The picture profile is really good, but I also did a lot with HLG2 in the BT 2020 color space, overexposed by 2 stops, and then used the leaming LUTs to correct it and tweak the saturation a bit in post. That gave me some really usable stuff on the A7 III. Actually, really usable stuff. I think it's HLG2. If I remember right, it's HLG2. I could probably just look it up right here. Let's take a look-see, shall we? I like the default picture profile too. Or rather, no picture profile. But picture profile 1, I set to, movie, color mode movie. That's what I liked. I like that a lot. And then the other one I did was HLG BT 2020. And then I used the overexposed by 2 stops or 1.7 stops. And then used the leaming LUTs, which are great LUTs, the technical LUTs from leaming LUTs. Okay, it's emo. Your ND64 from Freewell comes in at 1 gram on your Foon scale, but it always weighs at Mini 2 at 238 grams. Oh, interesting. All right. Can we use an old Android Galaxy S6 for the Mini 2? That I don't know, Peter. You'd need to check on the DJI website for the compatibility. Advice on books and materials for studying for the Part 107 certification. Matt, there's lots of free resources out there. The Northrops have a good free resource out there, but honestly, I highly recommend a place like Remote Pilot 101. That's what I used to pass my test. I don't have a discount code or anything like that. If you watch Ken Herron's show, he's probably got a discount for it. But Remote Pilot 101 is great. You buy it once, you buy it for life, and it walks you through everything you need. Plus, when you go to get a recurrent test, you'll get updated information to go, which I have to do in about 6 months. Sonic Neutronic, are we viewing you through the A7S III? You are. Through the A7S III, a 24 1.4 G Master lens, but it's also going through the Blackmagic ATEM Mini, which does add some weird contrast to the image, but yeah, it's there. Just got your Mini 2 last week, Denver, Colorado. Fantastic, Steve. That's awesome. Let's see. 6 miles. You'll run out of battery. Yep, exactly. I've never used a drone before, but I'd like to. Would I recommend the Mavic Mini or the DJI Mini 2 for a beginner like you? I would recommend the Mini 2 or the Mini 1 if you really got to watch your budget, because the Mini 1's on sale right now. That would be great. Great beginner drones because they're not super expensive. If you do crash them, they'll mostly survive. I mean, you still need to be careful and stuff. But if you have the budget, then the other one I really recommend is the Air 2, because it does have some obstacle avoidance. It's not massively expensive, like well over $1,000, but it has a little bit more of that robust ability. So yeah, those are the two I'd recommend. If you have a low budget, then get the Mini 1 or the Mini 2 if you can afford it. If you have a higher budget, get the Mavic Air 2. Michael Matthews, did I ever find my drone I lost in the water a while back? I did, Michael. I don't have it down here right now, but I did. We were able to dredge it up. I need to put together a whole video about going out to find that drone. I just haven't had the chance to edit it yet. So, Ridge Atkins, how would I go about starting a photography business, studying for your Part 107 now? So the big thing is, Ridge, you got to put some content. You got to start putting content out there, because you got to build a portfolio of work that then you can go to business owners with, or people that you'd like to work with, and put it out there and say, hey, this is the work I've done. What can I help you with? And you might have to do a couple for free. Like if you have friends that own businesses or people that that own a business, say, look, could I come over and film a short promo video for you, or take some photography of your stuff, your arts, your crafts, whatever, so you can build a portfolio. Hey, Zach Morrison, welcome. It's good Lord, you guys are those keywords Mini 2 attracted many more viewers than usual. That's true. They did. Those two videos have done way better than I thought they would when I filmed them. I was like, I'll film them anyway. We'll see what happens. But then it was like, oh, wow. A lot of people want to watch this stuff. So that's cool, which maybe some of you hear from that. And thank you. My test against low temperature convinced you to order one. Thanks. You're expecting it tomorrow. Awesome, Anton. Yeah, so I found the limit for low temperature with the Mini 2 is really right around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like minus 12, minus 15 Celsius. And that's definitely the limit. I mean, when I was out there flying, it still flew fine, and it was a pretty good wind chill, and it was handling fine. It wasn't doing anything weird, but it kept giving me warnings on the screen and the app saying it was too cold. But like I said, I keep my batteries warm, so I know the battery was fine, and I watched the temperature to make sure it stayed up around 20 to 30 C, somewhere in there, and that's fine. But it definitely was cold. Let's see. Love drones that you can't afford. As the freewheel absolutely mandatory, is the difference that noticeable? Steve, yes and no. Depends on how you're using it. I'm going to do a video soon about the freewheel filters for the Mavic Mini and kind of show the difference. Just because, you know, but on social media, probably not going to notice that much difference, really. Jared Farmer, you're welcome. Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the stuff you buy. That's always it's like I do a lot of reviews, and it's always a little nerve-wracking. Like, man, what if I say this is a great thing and then somebody gets it and they have a terrible experience? It's nerve-wracking. But yeah, I'm glad you're having a good experience and loving the stuff that I've helped you decide to buy. And that's honestly, that's my hope, is that I can give you enough information to make a good choice of, yeah, this is a good thing for me, or it's not a good thing for me, because not everything is for everybody. It just isn't, you know. Yeah, so thanks, Ridge. Yeah, if you use, it's Heron 18 is the discount code for Remote Pilot 101 if you want to get it through Ken's link. And I think he probably gets commission or affiliate sales off that or something, you know, some kickback, but that's fine. Ken's been a great guy. A7S3 picture profile off, standard for streaming purposes. Yes, that's what I do. I've shot a little bit with S-Log. I still haven't gotten stuff that I'm super happy with, so I haven't like put out my settings video for how I'm using the A7S3, but I did like modify the basic standard picture profile a little bit in the saturation and some other stuff just because I wanted it a little different, but yeah. All right, Action Gamer, I'm using the Sony a7S III as my streaming camera right now. Let's see, hey, Step 22 Gear, man, you guys are chatting up a storm. It's great. Do I play guitar, Ken? I do. I play bass sometimes. I play acoustic more than I play bass, and keyboard is actually my primary instrument. Anton B, how does frame rate affect quality? There are situations 1080 with 60 work better. Yeah, if you want to get some slow motion, if you want to slow something down, somebody running on a beach or something, then you want to shoot that in 1080 60 and slow it down in post. The biggest ways I work with frame rate with this drone or most drones is I'll film it. This is a tip. Oh, I can't. No, you got to tune in Friday for this tip. So tune in Friday for this tip for frame rates. A little bit about frame rates with drones like this. And yeah, anyway, Rabs, what made me start my YouTube channel? That is a long story, Rabs. I actually talked about it last week on the stream, and I probably need to do it again. Peter McLennan asks, suggested practice exercises for a new drone pilot. Go into a big open field and just start flying the drone around really slowly and really gently until and all you're trying to do is start to lock in the muscle memory for what movements make the drone do what. Fly it going away from you, fly it coming toward you, but yeah, big open field, do it there where you're not gonna hit anything, and yeah. Hey, Paul Feinberg's in the house. Hey, Paul Feinberg, welcome. Good to see you. Mark H, how cold can the Mavic 2 Pro fly successfully? So I have flown the Mavic 2 Pro in as cold as 40 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, which is also 40 degrees below 0 Celsius. So extremely cold. The Mavic 2 Pro is a beast. That's way colder than DJI recommends, but I have flown mine as cold as that. Mavic Pro 1 versus the Mini 2. I'd go the Mini 2. Honestly, the image quality in the Mini 2 is better than the Mavic Pro 1 by a bit. By a bit, too. Yeah, and it's a better drone. It's got better flight time. It's crazy. This has got better flight time. It's got it's more stable. better footage than the original Mavic Pro. It's insane. Anyway, you're welcome, Steve. Thanks. Green screen? Nope. This is actually my backdrop. This is my studio space, and no green screen. No green screen here. I have been accused of filming all my videos completely in front of green screen. I can assure you that is not the case. But yeah. JSK Enterprises, good evening. Hey, welcome. Good to have you here. James Smith, we have to register the Mini 2 in the UK. What are the new laws? I'm not familiar exactly with the new laws in the UK, but I believe as it stands currently, most drones under 250 grams do not need to be registered in most countries. That may change. And then if you're going to use it commercially, you will need to register it and you will need to get a license. Jan asked, do you need a license to fly the Mavic Air? No, you don't if you're not using it commercially, but you will need to register it as a hobbyist, which should only cost you $5 in the US. Hey, Geeks Fauna, welcome. Geeks Fauna, there was a question about the UK drone laws that you might be able to answer just a little ways up from James Smith. All right, I got to catch up. I'm so sorry, you guys. How cold can the Mini 2 fly? I've flown it as cold as 10 degrees, which is like minus 12, minus 13 Celsius. That's true, Ken. Excellent point. The Mavic Pro will handle the wind better, and it will handle colder temperatures better than the Mini 2 will. But yeah, Sonic, nice. Got to play Hisense, nice. Oh, Prophet 6, that's awesome. Fantastic. Frame rate teaser. Yeah, that's right, Stingray. My Friday tip this week is about frame rate and drone footage. So hold on to your hats. Okay. Hey, I'm caught up in the chat. All right. If I missed anybody's question, please ask it again. Chris Wickless, good to see you. So I'm saying I could do my own original music for my vids since I'm a musician. Man, yes, I could, Chris. If I had the time, I could. I don't have the time right now. So I used Artlist, and I love Artlist for all my music. It's a fantastic resource. If you, like, I have a link in the description that I think gives you 30 days free of all my videos. Like, if you want to go check out Artlist, you like some of the music you heard or something. But I like Artlist. I feel like Artlist has the best licensing available right now because you know, for whatever it is, like $200 something a year, you get the music from Artlist. You can use it personally on YouTube, but you can use it anywhere, and you can use it commercially. Their licensing, I think, is the best with Artlist, personally. So, for the price of what you pay. Hey, Scorpions. Let's see. All right, I'm going to play you some Mavic Mini footage, if you all are okay with that. And then there's a little bit of FPV footage shot with this guy here, which has my little, you can see it, there we go, little naked GoPro on the front there. Really tiny little stripped down GoPro, but this is a great little, fun little FPV drone. And so this, by the way, was a great low light test of the Mavic Mini. I did not think about it until, I went there and filmed this. But anyway, and while I do that, I'm going to grab some other stuff. So I won't be talking a lot. But this is the Mavic Mini 2. This is also the Mini 2 down inside the Glacier Ice Cave. It's weird, I thought I had my scale down here, but apparently I do not. That's a bummer, because I was going to use it to weigh the Mini 2 with an ND filter on there. But yeah, I really like the Mini 2 for, and then this is FPV here, but I really like the Mini 2 for flying in tight spaces. It is a great drone to fly through tight spaces. It's really fun. You've seen me do a couple of tight things through it, so yeah. Anyway, on this channel, Epidemic. Oh, Sunrise. I like Epidemic. I actually still have a subscription to Epidemic, but I've just found myself using Artlist more and more. Paul R, do I have to take the 107 test if you operate the Mavic Mini, the Mini 2 to post on YouTube? So if you post on YouTube, but if you're not monetizing it in any way, you should be okay. But if you start monetizing those videos, then yes, you need to get a Part 107. Yeah. JSK Enterprise is $200. Wow, I know it does sound like a lot, but then if you think about that, I'm using Artlist in all of my client work. Like, so every week I'm putting out client videos for clients I'm getting that music from Artlist. So that's 52 to, 100 something songs a week, or a year. And then I'm also using it on YouTube. So that's another couple hundred times or places that I use it here. And for me, like, if you look at then how much it costs to like license a song commercially, it's a lot. Sometimes. So yeah, no audio on the video, Eddie. Sorry. I had music on it and then I took it off because I wanted to talk over it. And but yeah. And I gotta say, I even landed back on my backpack, which I was excited because I had forgotten to take my landing pad. And this drone is, you don't want to fly it in the snow. It's tiny. It'll disappear and then that's it. So yeah. Anyway. Thanks, Paul. Jan, have I thought about doing an online course? So I am working on an online course right now. I'm working on basically teaching how to fly drones, how to use camera drones to create and capture great footage, how to even, hopefully maybe I'll be able to go into marketing for drone photography and videography. And then probably going to do something on that, but using FPV drones and kind of like where you want to use each and stuff like that. So it'll go all the way through the basics of like how you fly a drone, how you set up camera settings, and then go into how you get angles, what kind of angles you want to get with drones, what kind of shots you want to get with drones, and basically everything I can. So I could take somebody from never having used a drone before all the way through to being able to use a drone commercially and be very confident about the footage you get, to where people go, wow, because I was working on somebody else's drone footage today, editing it for a client, and let's just say it could have been better. So, Scorpions, how's the Mini 2 for beginners? Even Mini 2 can fly. It's great for beginners. It's actually very good for beginners. Yeah, that's the problem, Sonic. That is a problem with the music licensing services. And that's why I'm like, I've heard music that I've used on my videos on commercials on radio and stuff for big companies. And I'm like, well, whatever. I know where they got that music. It is, Matthew. Actually, the connection was very good in the cave. No GPS at all. So once I went out of the cave, I had to sit out there for a bit so I could go up high enough to get that shot of coming down into the cave, to get this beginning shot. Let's see if I can play this here. To get this shot, I had to go outside the cave and sit for a minute so it could acquire GPS signal and then come back down in, because I took off from down inside the cave. And yeah, it took a couple of minutes. This is not a good area for GPS signal anyway, because it's shadowed by a lot of the mountains around there. But yeah, I was surprised. I actually, the Mini 2 does much better in low light than I thought it did, than I thought it would have. So anyway, let's see. Thanks, Bayback. Beautiful place. Thanks, Ridge. FPV or DJI? I like them both, but for different reasons. I love FPV for the experience. It's so much fun to fly. It's also very intense. Like the stuff I showed you, my heart was pounding. But yeah. So, Keshava. Oh my gosh. Sorry. You asked me to suggest video editing software for video editing. If you have Mac, use iMovie. It's great to start out with. If you have PC, then start with something like DaVinci Resolve. The free version of DaVinci Resolve is a great start. Or Wondershare. Yeah, that's true. Wondershare is also really good. John, what do I think about Remote ID? I'm not very excited about it. I'll be honest. So, holy cow. I have completely... Jake Wright from Missouri. Hey, welcome. Lithium polymer more difficult to use than lithium ion? No, but lithium polymer is more affected by cold than lithium ion is. So Sunrise, how do they know? So when you download the Artlist, the file from Artlist, you get a license that if one, all the audio, whatever they call those, marks are removed, but then also you have a license in there that if Artlist ever claims a song, you can go and send them, hey, I purchased this song for this, so this is the license. So, hey, Tommy Calloway in the house. Nice to see you, man. Ken, that's a weird one, and nobody really knows yet, so it's hard to say. But honestly, like, I would... Oh, thanks, Geeksvana. I will keep you in mind, man. I'll need some people to run through the trial version before I put it out there on the market for everybody anyway, so to get some good feedback from you. But I will happily include you in that group. Mavic Air 2 over water. Absolutely, Nicholas. You can use the Mavic Air 2 over water. Mini 2 or Air 2 for the beginner. Sure, if you have the budget for the Air 2, I would get that. But if you don't have the budget for the Air 2, then get the Mini or the Mini 2. Either one would be great for a beginner. Tommy Calloway, put my A7S III on a drone. I have an FPV drone big enough to carry my A7S III. I just haven't done it yet. Chris Wickless, the course sound amazing. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that because sometimes I'm wondering if I should go it and do it. It's a lot of effort, a lot of energy, but my goal is to have it ready to go by the end of this year. Now that I've said that, I got to hold myself to it. Hey, Thad White. Thanks, man. Ethan Mitchell, iPhone 12 Pro, I have a friend that has one. It's amazing. I don't know if I'm going to get one or not just because it's expensive, but it looks amazing. A7 question with rack focusing for the solo shooter, Salty Beard Bike Packing. That is an awesome channel name. You can use tap to focus on the screen. That's one way of doing it. But if you're shooting yourself, it's much more difficult. The only way to really do it is set this focus speed to slow and have it try and do autofocus in some way, but it's hard to do. The only other way to do it is use a gimbal like the Weeble S with a focus motor on the thing, and you can use the scroll wheel on the app to make the focus motor move. And but it's not the best. It really isn't. So, yeah. Salty Beard, yo, from Western Canada. Awesome. Yes, Kevin. Anything that can get monetized, including, but especially real estate, you need a Part 107. But I encourage anybody to get their Part 107 anyway. It's not going to be much longer before everybody has to take a test. And the Part 107 will give you more freedom than a hobbyist anyway. So that's, yeah. James, that depends a lot on where you are and the demand for drone work. So, Mark H, can drone hobbyists fly at night? They can, absolutely. For at least for now, they can. Thanks, Jan. Yeah, you need to have a light on there that can be seen for 3 nautical miles. Okay, good Lord. I got to catch up to the bottom of the chat. I think I've caught up. Woohoo! Yeah, buddy. That was... Sorry, I am going as fast as I can to keep up with all your questions. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for asking questions. Great to have you all here. Paul, you just got the Mavic, the Mini 2, and you love it? Awesome. I'm glad. Ian, is 8-bit usable professionally in ideal lighting conditions? Absolutely, Ian. The last 2 years of video content that I've done for clients was done on a Sony a7 III in 8-bit video. It's fine. So long as you can expose properly, it's absolutely fine. So, yeah. All right, Chris, have a good dinner. That's true, Ethan. It would. That's true. Yeah. Although, honestly, like cost-wise, you start to go, like this. This is what ideally I'm going to put on my thick. A Blackmagic 4K. You know, that's $1,000, $1,200, and then Laowa lens for $400. So you're looking at like $1,600. The iPhone 12 is about $1,500. It's pretty dang close. So, yeah. Anyway, for the Mini 2, do you think ActiveTrack will be available eventually with the third-party softwares? So, from what I understand, yes, there's a third-party software out there that's working on it because it does have the capability to track. It tracks you when it does the droney and the circle and all that. So yeah, apparently like Litchi or somebody like that is trying to make it happen. Hey, Bob Casey, Sloan Ranger. That's right. Sloan Ranger's in the house. Mark Rousseau, using the Mavic Mini home inspection business, do you need to register it in New York? Thank you. Yes, Mark, you would need to register it because that'd be a commercial use there. So, yeah. Salty Beard, try the autofocus. Yeah, it's not perfect that way, man. Have I tried the A7 focus point for a fake focus pull? You mean, if you're not shooting yourself, then yes. Like you can set the focus speed to slow, and then you can, you know, if you have the focus point where you select the focus point and you can move it around, multi-select, put it where you want the focus, and then as you move the point off, the camera will autofocus to the next thing that point is on. So that works. And you can tap on the screen and have it do the same thing. It's just hard to do. Like if you're filming yourself doing it, it's very difficult to do because they're really not, I mean, there's no camera that's really built for that necessarily. T and Rocky Raccoon, thumbs up for our list. Yes, I agree. You will spend a lot of times looking for music on there. Red Jackets Loom makes a good strobe. That's true. They make a very good strobe. Ken Heron, thank you, sir. Thank you for the super chat. We were just talking about you. I was pointing people to Heron 18 for Remote Pilot 101 because I don't have a discount code for Remote Pilot 101, but I still recommend it because it's a great course. What gimbal would I recommend for video, both phone and Sony A7? That's really hard, Paul, because phones are so much lighter than the A7 cameras. Yeah. So it's really difficult. Stupid question. The light needs to be on the drone at night. Does it need a top or bottom? I put it on top because it's easier to see on the top, and it doesn't mess with your camera as much on the top. Yeah, Litchi. Yeah, exactly. So Litchi is another app that works with DJI drones that it does do some sort of tracking so far. Salty Beard, your YouTube is monitored. You need a commercial license. They're not monitoring YouTube, like they're not watching for YouTube channels and stuff, but yeah. How many, so Ken, all right, here, well, yeah, you saw how many Titanic-sized iceberg have I walked on this month? I haven't walked on any icebergs, but I did just get back from exploring the underside of a glacier, as you've seen. Yeah, strict line of sight rule. I mean, it's on the honor system, technically. So, oh, let's see. The big dog's here. Thanks. YouTube, Bob Casey, have a great Thanksgiving. I've caught up in the chat. Oh my gosh, I've caught up in the chat. There, Ken, I just answered it, man. I haven't walked on any Titanic-sized icebergs this month. I haven't walked on any icebergs this month, actually, but I have walked on some glaciers and have gone underneath a few. With this guy. And this guy. Those are my favorite. Your night Nashville test cost you $1,000 Canadian. Ken's night Nashville test. Man, that did look good too. The low light footage in that Nashville test looked great. It looked really good. So I'm gonna play this again because Ken's here. So this is the only iceberg I walked on recently, Ken. And I sent you the best parts of this. This is kind of more the raw, unedited stuff here. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Ken does a live stream tomorrow night. Starts at the same time I start. And it's different than what I'm doing. But it's a lot of fun. If you haven't been there, Ken's channel is all about drones and stuff. It's fun. So. Let's see. No, Ken, they're using my affiliate links. They're on my channel, man. Right now. Jeez. YouTube etiquette here, bro. Come on. Dustin, you could skip me. I know you answered the question, but editing software for PC. I like DaVinci Resolve for PC because it's free. But there's like Wondershare, and there's also Hit Film Express that is pretty decent for free or low-cost software anyway to start out with. Diana Pierce, have I reviewed the Evo 2? No, but I've been talking with Evo, and I think we're just about to the point where they're willing to send me an Evo 2 to test. I just have to fill out a book of paperwork this thick and get it back to them. So I am working on an Evo 2 review, yes. Let's see. RC won't connect to your phone. Oh, dang, that's too bad. Sorry to hear that, man. Wasn't sure if it would happen on Turkey Day. That's true. Ken, are you having a live stream tomorrow night on Turkey Day? Or are you doing like most radio personalities where they play the best of thing? So, Peter McLennan. You love it when YouTubers have guest YouTubers on their streams. Me too. And so, like, I think right now I've been having like 2 guests a month. I want to get that to be more. It's just more the time of like coordinating that with other people. But yeah, it's actually a lot of fun to have other people on streams. So this is filmed inside of a glacier ice cave by me yesterday. Yeah. Let's see. Was this first drone? I gotta get back to me. There we go. Want to get into FPV? How much would it run getting into? Been binging Rotor Riot. The Ridge, I would start with the Tiny Hawk 2 Flymore kit or the Beta FPV Meteor 65 Flymore kit. Either one of those is about $200. You get goggles, controller, and the drone. Honestly, I'd go toward the Meteor 65 because it's better overall. And start with that and start flying around. Yeah. Yeah, it might be, Mr. Zeth. Ken, was I afraid the ceiling would fall down on me? Yes, I was, because you can see ice that has fallen down. And there were places in that cave that I wanted to go but didn't because it looked too unsafe. So, yeah, I do watch that closely anytime I go in those places. You haven't missed a TNL in 173 weeks, so I assume that means you will be there then. I'll try and be there too. I'll have family in town, but I'll try and be there and at least listen in. By the way, Ken, thank you for having me to co-host your stream last week. That was a blast. I had an absolute blast. It was fun. And let's see, I brought some of the best dad jokes I could. Some of them were really terrible dad jokes, but they were definitely dad jokes. Yeah, let's see. Decent radio, under 50 and starting a sim. Yeah, Ethan. And that's where, like, if you get the $200 Beta FPV kit, that radio will work with a sim. And it's a good, decent radio, actually. So, yeah. Let's see. Mile both ways every video he does for us. It's at least a mile. That is a 5-mile hike. Not one way. It's 2.5, 3 miles one way. Back and forth. And in that case, I was walking in snow up to my waist in some places. It was deep snow. I did not expect that much snow. The whole reason I went up there is there was a section of that cave with a hole in the ceiling that is huge, like the size of my house huge. And I wanted to go and dive my FPV drone through the hole and then fly out of the cave. It's filled in with avalanche snow, so I can't do that now till sometime next year. A little bit of bummer. But yeah. Let's see. Sabash asks, actually curious to know how much weight it can lift off. Kind of sticking a phone to do time lapse, almost stuff. This can't lift very much weight, and neither can this. So, yeah. Thanks, Ken. Ken Hofbauer. Personally, I think fibers learn after the sim. The microquads have very touchy throttle. That's true, Ethan. They do. Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Way Up Drones. Ice caves define the term sketchy. That's very true, Peter. They are extremely sketchy and very dangerous, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Ridge Atkins, the drone, the kit. You see the. Let me see if I can find one here for you. Wow. I guess Amazon doesn't sell the kit. They might be sold out of the kit. That's weird. Yeah, they might not have the kit anymore. Good FPV drones for somebody who doesn't want to solder. That's hard, man, because you're gonna have to solder. You're gonna crash and wreck it. And you're gonna have to solder. Looking forward to respect all of my videos. Thanks, Ken. Do I carry an emergency GPS beacon with you when I go hiking? Yes, I do, Ethan. I always have an inReach with me, and I almost always have, well, especially in the summer, I have a bear protection with me as well. So way up drones, I would start with something like the Tiny Hawk kit. Tiny Hawk 2 bundle. Like this. But honestly, like, there are better bundles than this out there. But you could start with something like this if you want to. Thanks, T and Rocky Raccoon. I appreciate that a lot. Memory card for the Mini 2, U3 memory card, just not a normal memory card thing, right? Yeah, I use these right here. These are pretty much the only cards that I use. There's no way it's going to focus on that unless I like totally block out my face. These are little SanDisk Extreme Pro cards. They work great. So that's what I use for 4K stuff. GoPro 9, I don't think so, Scorpion. No, it's GoPro 9's gonna be way too heavy. They're really heavy. You just flew your Mini 2 for the first time today? Awesome, my generic Mike. That's awesome. Bought the Mini 2 a couple days ago. See a couple videos on YouTube. Lost control. Really worried. Please tell me your conclusion. I haven't had any issues like that, Rick. A lot of times those videos are people that have a genuine fault with the drone, or they don't know what they're doing. Most of the time, those things are user error. So that's why I tell people when you're going to fly a drone for the first time, go out to a big open field and start off slow. Kieran, that depends a lot on where you live, the airport you have near you, and more. So, but I would expect that you'll have to go a little way away. Let's see. Ken, did you give an update on Kelly? Good. I'm glad he's getting better. That's good. Paul, your Mavic Mini 2 kit, or Mini 2 kit is at DroneWorks. Nice. That's awesome. Oh, what about the new Canon R5 that's being announced tomorrow? The Canon R5 has been out for a while, Mark. What is being announced tomorrow? Is it the C70 you mean? Let me see. I don't know about any Canon cameras that are being announced tomorrow, unless I'm just totally missing something. Anyway. You're welcome, Ridge. Mr. Seth, you subbed? Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You watched a whole bunch of the live stream to decide if you were going to sub? That's respect. That's pretty awesome right there. Also, if you could swing it, Ethan says the DJI FPV system. Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. It's hard to go back once you've done the DJI FPV system. What camera manual settings do I use with the Mini 2? Generic Mike, I actually have been shooting a lot of this thing in auto. The only thing I'll do is over or underexpose slightly, depending on the scene, which is nice and easy to do. But if I'm going to film in all manual modes with it, then I generally film at 4K, 24 frames a second. I set the shutter speed at 1/50. I'll put an ND filter on there and then try and keep my ISO between 100 and 400. How's that for a quick, short, to the point answer? Way Up Drones, you just had your 1 year drone anniversary, had the Mini, the Air, and the Air 2 ready for next level FPV. Awesome, Way Up Drones. It's fun, but I'll tell you what, it's a rabbit hole that once you fall down, it's a long way down. Oh, Mark. Dang, I got to change that description, I guess, don't I? That is an old description. Sorry about that. Thanks for pointing that out, though. Good Lord. How old is that description? Obviously, I haven't looked at it very closely. Yeah, I will. I'll fix that. Thank you very much. Let's see. Mini 2 good drone to start with. Mini 2 is a great drone to start with, Bradley. Very good because it's not super expensive, but it does a lot. It's really good. Danny, your airport supports Lance. You haven't tried it yet? That's awesome. If it supports Lance, it's really easy to get approval through Lance. It's really quick and it's really painless. It's great. Have I achieved 10 kilometer or further than 2 kilometer on the Mini 2 because you're interested in buying? You saw a vid that said the Mini 2 could not go further than 1 kilometer. No, the Mini 1 was very restricted in range. This has basically the same range as the Mavic Air 2 and the DJI 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, because it's using OcuSync 2.0. But flying much further than like a 1,500 to 2,000 feet, you lose sight of the drone, which is not legal. So I haven't done a range test. I don't expect to. JP, am I expecting the Mavic Pro 3? I think it's going to be released sometime early next year is my guess. Like spring next year. That's, yeah. Wow, just got the drone today. Awesome, Danny. Congrats. Derek Mike, wonderful quick answer. You're welcome. Let's see. The Room Air 2 with a 1-inch sensor. That'll be a long time coming, JP, because the next thing that they're going to do is the Mavic 3 Pro or something like that. Actually, what they really need to update is the Inspire 2. Like, that's got a ways to go. They need to update that first, but they'll probably do the Mavic 3 Pro first. Hi, Matthew. Let's see. Very good for starter. Yeah, or even a backup. Yeah, so, I got a lot of grief for not keeping the Mavic Air 2 when I bought it and then did the review and then sold it because it didn't have 10-bit color, but I need 10-bit color. I can't keep the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic Air 2. They're too similar. This, on the other hand, is so small and so lightweight and so easy to have with me all the time that I don't have to decide if I'm going to take a drone or another lens or an FPV drone or whatever. I can just throw it in the bag and have it with me all the time. It's great. So that makes it a great backup drone and a great drone to have with me just in case. Bradley, you're waiting to make this your hobby. Awesome. You got your Mavic for 450 Canadian. Is it worth it? I think so. The Fly More kit, if you can get the Fly More kit, I would. It's great. Let's see. Next year, 3 drones coming. Air 3, Mini 3, and Mavic 3 Pro. Scorpions? Mavic 3 Pro for sure. Maybe a Mini 3. I think the Air 3 would be the following year. Generally, DJI is about like 18 months to 2 years on their updates. Jason, I got rid of my Mavic Air 2 because it's too similar to the Mavic 2 Pro, but I do have clients I work with from time to time that specifically require me to give them 10-bit color files because they color grade in post, and so it made more sense for me to keep that. Being confused as a recreational flyer, it's darker after sundown. You cannot get approved through Kitty Hawk at all. Interesting, Ridge. I haven't used Kitty Hawk, but that's interesting. Your videos are always dark, even in auto mode. You've adjusted the settings. What are you missing? So there is what they call EV compensation, and it's a little dial there that if you scroll up, it'll be like minus, or it'll be 0 to like -3, or if you scroll up, it'll be 0 to +3 or +4 or 5 or whatever. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but make sure that's at 0, and it should have an EV next to it, right by all your little camera settings there, and then that might be your problem. Joseph, will I still be streaming in 1 hour? No, I will not. I've got 5 more minutes, and then I've got to run. Let's see, Mavic. You have a Mavic Air 3. Let's see. Next big adventure, Mount Marcy, 5,000 feet up. We'll see if that 0 degrees Celsius cap will impair the drone. Nice. Yeah, the wind gust. That's the big thing. Generic mic. Nice. Have fun on that and be safe. Mr. Zaith, how did I experience the battery time on the Mini 2 in sub-zero temperature? Being in Norway, you assume it's going to be an issue. So actually, because I keep my batteries warm beforehand, and if you don't know how to do that, then check my last week's video, Friday, 5 minutes, and I'll have more coming up probably. But keep your batteries warm. Always keep your batteries warm to start out with. And then when you put them in the drone, start flying, hover the drone for a minute so that the battery has, juice being drawn from it. And honestly, I was still getting about 20 minutes of flight time on the Mini 2, which is phenomenal. Mr. 3 you got for 405. That's fantastic. Because you're way north like me up in Norway, but I've been surprised how well this can handle it. I do feel like the limit for how cold it can go is probably about minus 15 C is when it starts to go, now this is too cold and show you warnings. But it was still flying for me at minus 15 C. So yeah. JP, have I done any drone light painting? I have. There are some photos on my Instagram, which, just a reminder, everybody, I will be doing a giveaway with LumeCube on my Instagram soon. So if you want to be part of that or have a chance to enter that, then make sure you're following me on Instagram. Mini 1 arrives tomorrow. Great, Joe. 12 Mini 2, 385 grams. I think it can lift. Super fun. Yeah, I don't think it's going to lift it, man. All right, Eddie. See ya. Have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. I do recommend getting DJI Care Refresh if you can, Danny. It's a good idea just in case. Chances are you're going to wreck your drone at some point or another, so it's kind of nice to have it. Only 20 minutes. Yeah, 21 minutes. But in like more ideal temperatures, I only get like 26 minutes. So that's pretty good for considering us flying well below ideal temperatures. Thank you, Sunrise. I appreciate that. Here I'm saying it. I'm never putting a link in there. I appreciate that a lot, man. Good, Ken. Have a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, inside the coat. Keep your batteries inside your jacket so they stay warm when you're out in the cold. And actually, it's over there. I'm not going to grab it, but you can get those little electric hand warmer things too. That also helps. You can keep your batteries in a pocket with one of those. It'll keep them warm. Rick, that's not true. So, yeah, move on. People will post any bad experiences they have, so online reviews are generally more negative anyway, because the people who don't have bad experiences don't post. But, yeah, so I've flown mine a lot, no issues. And lots of other people have flown theirs with no issues too. I don't know, JP. I'm not sure. I don't understand some of DJI's choices on things like that. Patrick Sutton, you're trying to decide between the Mini 2 and the Air 2. So far, the Air 2 is winning. Other than price. Honestly, Patrick, if you're not worried about like the under 250 grams thing to, not worry about registering and stuff, and you have the budget for the Air 2 is a really good drone. And I would go with that if you don't have another larger drone. The reason I am going with this drone as well as my Mavic Pro 2 is there's enough difference. This is tiny. It can fit in my bag and I don't have to compromise what I'm taking with me or not taking with me. Whereas the Mavic 2 Pro is more like, okay, I have to decide what I'm not going to take with me to fit the Mavic 2 Pro. So, yeah. But if you're going to get just one drone, the Air 2 is great. I don't know if you can, Ridge. You might be able to. But I think you have to show that it's still flying in decent condition and stuff. Mr. Safety sounds sketchy with a LiPo battery. Well, it's not super hot, man. But keeping your batteries warm is important, or LiPo batteries will not work in the cold. Best drone flying gloves. So I use a set. They're upstairs drying, but I use a set of really thin. They're pretty thin, just to keep the air off my skin. Gloves by Head, HEAD. And then when I'm not flying the drone, I switch to a really, Arctic pair of gloves to keep my hands warm. But they have, you can also buy this, liquid you can coat drill gloves with that will make touchscreens work. But the ones I use, the touchscreens will work because they've got like stuff in there. Sunrise, actually it sold really quick. I was surprised. I don't think it will from DJI, Bradley, but I think other apps like Litchi and some other ones will probably work on getting it there. Rick, there's no defect on the Mini 2. There's probably a few people out there who did get bad units or did something stupid, which is most of the time with those kinds of videos and problems. I don't know what a Jackery 240 is, Jason. Yeah, exactly. Hobby the Meg 2 with an app, a power mirror, and an iPad Pro with a hub, HDMI. Only about 1 second lag. Wow, that's impressive. That's an excellent idea, Matthew. Great plan. The Mini 2 is substantially great. It's a great upgrade. All right, folks, it's 5 o'clock. I've got to wrap the stream up because I've got to get going to another place here for some other work. But exactly, Ridge. Yeah, Rick, so if you don't fly it out of your line of sight and you don't fly next to high-powered antennas like cell phone towers or radio stations, you'll be fine. But people do that and they crash because they shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, let's see. Best app you recommend? AirMap or Before You Fly, etc. I use AirMap. It's great. Super easy to get Lance approval for things. I like it. Yeah. Can you use DJI racing goggles? Not yet. Not with the Mini 2. You cannot yet. So, thanks, Geekspana. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. Best way to handle screen glare? Get a bright screen. Mark H, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Is that your second? Did you do that once already? Somebody else did. Where was it? I know Ken did one. I can't scroll back that far, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the show, part of the stream. Be back same time, same place next week. Friday, I have a quick tips video coming out about frame rates and drone shots and how that using different frame rates can help you with your drone shots. So be watching for that. And I think also we'll have a Insta360 X2 video coming out between now and then, maybe? Well, no, probably not, because it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. I won't be doing anything. But anyway, that'll be coming out soon, so... Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this channel. I appreciate it. And thanks for being here on the stream. You all stay safe, be smart, and have a great rest of your day. Cheers.